Welcome to the No Fun channel. I'm Felix, and this is sci-fi shows I think they should remake. Next up is Viper. Viper premiered on NBC January 2nd, 1994. The TV show was based around the Dodge Viper, which was a popular sports car at the time. In the show Viper, there were three individuals who were part of the Viper project. Actor James McAfee played Michael Payton, who gets into a car wreck while committing a crime and has his memories erased, and he becomes Joe Astor. Dorian Haywood played Julian Wilkes, the brains behind the car. He created the Viper and all the technology that went into it. Franklin Waters was the mechanic in the police station who helped out with the Viper. The three of them together would fight crime and solve mysteries. In the first season, they had it that the Viper project tried to get shut down, and the three of them stole the car and continued the project without the help of the police department. The series only lasted for one season on NBC. At the end of the first season, the ratings just weren't there, and the show was canceled. Now, the show actually did last for 4 seasons. In season 2, the show went syndicated. When the show went syndicated, the only character to continue on for all 4 seasons was Franklin Waters. They brought in Jeff Kakey, I'm probably not saying his name right, as Thomas Cole, a CIA agent who was the driver or the new driver of the car. Heather Midway was brought in as Cameron Westlake, the police liaison. Ali Farrow, who was played by Dawn Stern, was the new genius who took care of the car. The 4 of them together would fight crime and save the day. Now in season 3, Dawn left the show, so they wrote her character out. When I was looking into the show, I discovered Jeff and Heather actually did not get along, but also discovered he wasn't getting along with pretty much anyone, and he was causing problems behind the scene as well. So in season 3, it was just the 3 of them out there fighting crime. Now in season 4, Jeff was actually fired because basically we're just tired of the stuff he was doing behind the scenes. Heather stayed and Joe stayed, reprising their roles as Westlake and Waters. Now, of course, for season 4, they needed a driver. They actually brought back James to play Joe Astor. Dorian actually returned for 3 episodes to reprise his role as Julian. Now, at the end of season 3, they actually blew up the Viper, so Julian returns with a new Viper for them to go out and fight crime. One thing I would like to point out is Julian was in a wheelchair in season 1. He got caught between the police and the bad guys and wound up in a wheelchair. The thing is, this show premiered the same time as Mantis did. This show actually premiered the same time as Mantis. Mantis, the main character, who was black also, got caught in a firefight between police and bad guys. Part of me wonders if someone at NBC saw Mantis and thought, hey, let's put our guy in a wheelchair too. Now, by the end of season 4, though, they had the character out of the wheelchair walking around. The actor in real life does not use a wheelchair. So I never understood why they felt the need to put him in a wheelchair. One of the reasons I picked this show is because there aren't any action shows out there, not like this. There's no shows out there that, cars driving around doing crazy things and stunts and stuff like that. They just don't make shows like that anymore. Now, with that also said, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Viper was the greatest show ever made. It was not. It was a show designed to sell cars, is really what it was. And I watched the show. I liked the cars that were on there. And I think it did actually help with boosting sales for the car. Now, one of the downsides to remaking this show is that the Viper is no longer made. They stopped production in 2017. So one of the things they could do, they could still keep the name Viper and have it mean something else and just get a whole new car. Now, there are still Vipers on the road out there, so they could always get one of those Vipers and do something with it. Now, as for the cast, I would do a whole new cast, and I would ditch a few characters here and there. To start off, I would ditch the Michael Payton scenario. Basically what I would do, I would just start off with the character is Joe Astor, no memory erase. And I would ditch the criminal background aspect of the character as well. I would have it that he was a cop fresh out of the academy, rookie who nobody knows. The criminal people don't know who he is, so he's perfect for undercover work. So they could do that, go that route, and no tragic backstory. I'm sick of tragic backstories for all the main characters. And even if they wanted to, they could gender swap or race swap the character. The race of the character, the sex of the character actually wasn't pivotal to the role. Another thing is they could keep the police liaison. Again, they could gender swap or race swap the character. Again, race and sex had nothing to do with the character. So they could keep the character as Westlake. It could be Cameron or Cameron is boy or girl. So they could keep the name actually and make it a boy or girl in any race. So they could keep that aspect of it, and that could be the police liaison. And as for the brains, Julian, they can keep that character again, switch out the character, kill Julie or Julian, and cast whoever they want. Now the thing is, the wheelchair part of it, I would ditch the wheelchair unless the actor's in a wheelchair. And if they do get an actor or actress who's in a wheelchair, they shouldn't address it, actually. I think they should just have the character be in a wheelchair. They don't always have to address why a character's in a wheelchair. In today's society, it doesn't matter. If they're in a wheelchair, they're in a wheelchair. Let's move on with the story. And for all three characters, no tragic backstories. Let's have everyone had a happy upbringing. Like I said, I'm done with tragic backstories. Can't we just have everyone had a happy upbringing and they just want to fight crime? There's nothing wrong with that. So no more tragic backstories. And again, like I said, as for the car, there are still some Vipers out there. They could get one, or they can make one. They can have it made for the show. And I mean, who would suspect a 2017 Viper fighting crime? I mean, it'd be the last car you suspect. And like I said, as for the main character, have it be a rookie, and that way, the bad guys don't know this cop because they haven't been out there that long. They just got out the academy and are recruited because they have the driving skills. Now, as for the surviving cast members, most of the cast is still alive. The only one so far that I know that's passed away is James McCaffrey. He passed away in December 17th, 2023. So just last year, he passed away. Now, as for Jeff, I wouldn't bring him back since they had so much issues with him. Now, as for bringing any of the characters back or bringing in the old actors back, I wouldn't bring them back as any other characters. They don't even have to bring them back related to the character if they just want to have them pass through or something from one episode. They can have them all be the villain. But the main reason I would like to see the show, I want to see an action show, just a straight up action show, having fun, doing crazy stunts with a car, driving fast, a Fast and Furious for television. So I think that'd be interesting to bring, you could go in that style of, well, maybe not that style exactly, but you can still have your drama in it, and you can have your bad guys. It was set in a fictional city of Metro City in a somewhat futuristic timeline. So they could do the same, though, set it in modern time. And with all the stuff we have today, seeing the car drive itself or doing crazy things, we just think it was an AI driving a car or something. So that's another thing. There are cameras everywhere. So the car would eventually get filmed transforming. And they could they could have one of them start an internet site debunking it, or doing both sides, have a conspiracy theory and the debunker be the same person. And they could use Franklin Waters instead of having him be the police mechanic. He could be a computer guy who does conspiracy theories, and he helps them fan the flames of the conspiracy theory behind the Viper. Just out there, he's the guy helping the man to further the fake stories on the car. That's my take on Remaking Viper. You guys take care.